Hello there, my friends. So I just wanted to let you guys know what happened uh, when I got my dental implant because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that haven't had them and that probably have some trepidation about getting them. And it's always what you don't know that gets you because if you're like me, you kind of catastrophize things and think of worst case scenarios, and that's just normal. I think thinking that's trying to prepare oneself for the worst in case it happens, but of course it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. So let me just say that the actual implant process that I had done for an upper dental implant was not nearly as bad as the extraction. At least the procedure was probably similar. The amount of time I was in the chair, but the recovery is much more pleasant. So yeah, I guess maybe I should talk about the extraction first. So basically, I had a tooth that cracked, like the root had cracked, and there was no way they were going to be able to salvage it. It wasn't a candidate for a root canal for whatever reason. I think there was bone loss or something. And whenever you hear the word bone loss, you think, oh, great, what's that all about? Is it cancer? Is it, something crazy like that? But no, they're talking about like millimeters of bone. It was like as soon as somebody said bone loss, I had this terrible thought of, oh my god, like my head's gonna fall apart. I'm never gonna smile again. I'm not gonna look the same. But no, that's all ridiculous. At least in my case. So yeah, so they had to pull a tooth, and this tooth happened to be on the top, and by the way, this picture you're looking at is not my jaw, so no, these are not my dental records. But this poor person looked like he was in a car accident or something. Anyway, yeah, so they pulled a tooth. So when they pulled a tooth, they failed to tell me until after they pulled the tooth. Not that I would have had a choice in the matter, that there would be a hole going from my mouth to my sinus cavity because apparently the roots extend pretty close to the sinus cavity, and then there was bone loss there. So I was under what they called what did they call that? Something like a nasal protocol. Basically, I was not allowed to sneeze, blow my nose, or anything like that for several weeks until that healed over. Um, what they did when they took the extraction was they put in a bone implant, right? And so a piece of bone that was going to heal around that hole, right? Cover that hole, and the rest of my bone would heal around it, and then that would give me a firm foundation for them to implant the implant. So they did that. So it was extra. So yeah. So let's just talk about cost too. So the extraction was like $300. That wasn't bad, price wise. The implant was like 600. I think might have been 700. The prices have gone up, and and so and then I had to wait three at least 3 months before they would be able to give me an X-ray to see if I could get the implant. But anyway, the protocol, the nasal cavity protocol, was the most concerning to me because, of course, here we are in the you know post-pandemic or near post-pandemic state. Um, Chance of getting something that may cause one to sneeze or be to have a cold or have sinus issues. You don't want to have like a bunch of germs in that cavity. So so yeah, so I was on antibiotics for a week. Oh, by the way, before they did the extraction, I had to swallow these 4 horse pills. The 4 horse pills of the apocalypse, I like to call them. They're black and pink, and it was amoxicillin. And basically, in my case, I have difficulty swallowing pills, so I chewed them one at a time. Um, and they did not upset my stomach. And then afterwards, after I did that, I was given a dental rinse. I was told to rinse for at least 30 seconds. Do that, and then they performed the extraction. And then I had antibiotics for a week after that to prevent any infection. But the extraction itself, I guess I overheard them talking. It was a teaching situation, so there were a couple different people in the room. But the main dentist, I guess the tooth collapsed. It broke, so they had to get the root out of there. I'm not going to go into any gory details because I didn't see any gory details. I wear glasses. I took my glasses off. I was conscious for the whole thing, but I was aware of what was going on. And I was trying my best to meditate and put my mind elsewhere. But they took the parts of the tooth out. They got everything, cleaned it out real good, and I had no infection, so I was good. So I waited 3 months. They looked at it. They did an x-ray. They said I could go at any time. It was in November. I was expecting possibly my health insurance to change in January, and it did change, but it did not cover anything like implants. I didn't really expect that. I wanted to have better health insurance in case something did go wrong. So I waited until January to get the implant done. And when I did, they did not. Oh, right. So the recovery from the extraction, there was a hole in my mouth, and it was sewn shut, and there was a piece of bone in there that was grown over. So I had to be very careful not to eat on that side. Certainly not to eat anything sharp. I ate pretty much mushy food for the next 4 to 5 days. I couldn't brush my teeth until after the day one and then on the opposite side. I had to do a saltwater rinse 3 times a day to kind of kill any bacteria, and yeah, so it was ginger, it was tender. I had to be. I ate like things like sushi without seeds. I ate applesauce. I ate mashed potatoes. I used my blender a lot and ate hummus and things like that, but no seeds. I didn't want anything to get caught in there. And these stitches, they made a big giant loop with the end of the stitch, so my tongue kept going to that hole in my, that gap in my teeth and playing with the stitches. But eventually the stitches did fall out after about 7 days. All right, so that's the extraction. So that was the worst part. I had pain after the extraction for about a day and a half. I'm not a big believer in using painkillers if I don't have to, so I didn't take aspirin or ibuprofen or anything like that for the extraction. And in retrospect, I feel like maybe I should have. I'm not a doctor. I'm not recommending anybody take any medication at all, except under a doctor's care, under your particular doctor's care in your case. But in my case, after having the extraction, having that experience, the implant, having that experience, I wish I had taken the painkillers. The ibuprofen, basically, is what they were recommending, and possibly Tylenol. So, anyway, I did apply a cold compress to the area for 20 minutes on and off. I did that for about a day, and then and I didn't really have that much swelling, so it wasn't an issue, and my eye didn't turn black or anything like that. So anyway, I had waited almost 6 months before I got the implant. And the doctor said, well, we can always take another, scan if we need to at 6 months, because I told him what my intent was, to wait that long. And he said, as long as you don't wait years, it should be fine. And actually, when I went in this time in January to get the implant, they did not take a scan initially. They just, I assume, cut open the gum and saw what was there. So here's the part that might be cause people a little squeamishness, and it's just because it's just a description. I had no problems with anything, but he does use a drill to drill into the newly formed bone, and I could hear them talking about sizes of implants. And because of my smallish mouth, they were going to use a smaller number. He said something like a 4.7. I don't know if that means 4.7. I have no idea. But then he said, the student doctor said, well, what's standard or something? Or they said something like a 6 is standard. So anyway, they started to drill. So I'm laying back with my head tilted to the side as wide as I can open my mouth and trying to pretend I'm somewhere else. And they drill using I assume the smallest bit to start. And only for about a period of maybe 5 to 10 seconds. And but boy, do you feel it! Like it's all in your head. Oh, by the way, the when he gave me the shot to deaden the pain, he flapped my gums while he was giving me the shot and putting the needle into the skin, and I didn't feel it really. I mean, I felt something, but he said you're going to feel a little bit of pinch, burning, kind of feeling, I guess, as the liquid goes in. I didn't really feel any of that, and he had given me some numbing gel on like a little stick or a Q-tip, or I don't know what you would, a tiny little applicator on the gum before that, and I really did not feel a thing. I said, didn't feel a thing. And he said, well, you really let on like you didn't. But I really didn't. They did a great job with that. And boy, I was instantly numb. It wasn't like when I go to a regular dentist to get a filling where you're just like, you have to wait 10 minutes before it gets numb. No, man, this was numb like within seconds. So they knew what they were doing. Anyway, yeah, so the drilling part is the part that most people be apprehensive about. And yeah, I was laying there in like about it seemed like about 5 to 10 seconds for the first one. My head like vibrating. And then they did that in succession about 3 times. And then the fourth time, I started to just imagine that I was in a massage chair and that my head vibrating was from the inside out was normal. But then I thought, okay, this is good. They're done. And then the doctor, the main doctor, dentist said, well, I guess he's a doctor. He said, oh, he's got a lot of bone there. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for the, I guess the standard size implant. So they did 3 more of those drilling. So it's basically like drill for 5 to 10 seconds and then change drill bits. So wait a little bit. You wait there for maybe 15, 20 seconds, and then they do it again for 5 to 10. Then wait 15 to 20 seconds. And then there was a big wait in between 4 and 5, but it ended up being 7 times they did that. So just so, I don't know if that's standard. I don't know if that's more or less than will be in your event, but that's what happened to me. And, and I was fine. When they went to put the implant in, you could feel a little pressure. They were like basically screwing a metal object into a bone. And, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as the extraction for sure. And it was like getting a filling, really. And then they put a cap, or temporary, like they put a screw basically inside the implant. That's where the the actual crown is going to, like, with a post, is going to go into the receptacle. And yeah, so he said, wow, that's the first, you never get it the first time, he said. So mine went in the first time, so they didn't have any difficulty getting the screw cover on top. There was a yeah, so that was that. So then he said basically they were going to take a scan, X-ray, I assume, and I did that. It was a standing X-ray, kind of like almost on my tiptoes. They really want to make sure my jaw was closed and I wasn't going to move. They did a scan. They showed me the scan. He also showed me the implant, but I didn't look. I can't see anything with my glasses off, really. So that was totally out of focus. But so hopefully that's the last time you ever see that. But then, yeah, so I got to see it on the X-ray, and it was pretty cool looking, like the Terminator, It's the titanium teeth. And the first question everyone asks, apparently, and they laugh at you when you ask, and it's just because it's a logical question. Will I set off any metal detectors if I go through the airport or something like that? It's like, no, it's made out of titanium, which is non-ferrous metal, so it won't be set off any detectors. But you can see it on X-ray, so if you're going through an X-ray scan, they'll definitely know that you had some dental work done. Anyway, it's just something that people ask. And then I asked about my post-operative care, and they were going to, tell me I was free to go. One last thing. Before I had the procedure done, the implant, I did have to take 4 more of those horse pills. Very nice lady in the attending me. I don't know what her rank or position was. She was, I said, are you going to can I stand up? Because I was already in the reclining position on the chair. And she said, yeah, anything you need to do to swallow those pills. I said, well, I'm probably going to chew them, so if you're going to watch me. And she's like, no, I have to do something. I'll be back. But she had also left me with that dental rinse. Now, that dental rinse, after I got done swallowing the pills, I took that and I rinsed out with it. And she came back. She said, oh, my gosh, you rinsed out with it. I was supposed to be here for that because she was going to time me to make sure I did it for 30 seconds. I'm pretty sure I was close to 30 seconds. But anyway, no problems yet. Anyway, so I got home. I got the instructions I asked him about ibuprofen. I said, should I take ibuprofen just for the anti-inflammatory thing, even if the pain's not that bad? And he told me this, and I had never heard this before, but I don't know. So if you're a doctor out there, you can, but this is what my doctor said, was that, ibuprofen needs a little bit of time to build up in the bloodstream, so get ahead of the pain. He said, go ahead and take one when you get home. He said, take one after, he said, make sure you eat first, because it can upset your stomach. So take one after you eat the first time. Take one about 6 hours after that, and then take one before you go to bed. And then take 3, over the course of the next day, take like 3 a day, basically. So I did that. And then he said after 24 hours, saltwater rinse, and very lightly, don't swish, don't spit, just let the water fall out of your mouth. And that was very important, especially with the extraction. It was very important, and it was important this time too. And you can eat basically anything, just eat on the opposite side of your mouth. You're probably going to go easy at first and eat soft foods. But like my wife bought me sushi, and that was good. And I ate mashed potatoes, and what else did we have? Oatmeal. So that's been what I've been eating for the last 2 days. Anyway, get home. I did have a little bit of pain when I left the hospital. I was fine until I got out into a 10-minute walk to my car, and then I started to feel it. I got in the car, I'm driving home, and I'm feeling it. I'm starting to get a little bit of a headache too. So I get home, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to lay down. So I laid down, and I had a headache, and I got a really slight nosebleed. Now, I don't know. It's January here, so it could be the dryness of the weather, but I had not had a nosebleed in a long time. And it was mostly mucus and a little tiny bit of blood, so it was like very light pink. It wasn't like full-on red blood on the tissue, but I caught it in time. But you know how you feel when you're going to have a nosebleed. I think that had a lot to do with the vibration of the drill, maybe shaking up stuff, in my sinus cavity. I hope so. But of course, I was slightly alarmed. And then I also had a nosebleed a little bit later, maybe about an hour and a half later. So I did the nosebleed protocol, which for me is, again, I'm not a doctor, but for me is to pinch my nose and put on a timer, lean forward and put on a timer for 10 minutes and not release pressure for 10 minutes. And that did the trick. And then, but I did have 2 subsequent nosebleeds over the last 2 days. None that required pressure, though, so to stop. And so I'm watching that symptom. The headache went away pretty well after the first ibuprofen. The gum pain, which is where the incision was made, but also I think where the needle went in. That's pretty much gone now. It's been 2 days. That went away, I'd say, after, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours the first day. Like the ibuprofen really seemed to do the trick. So I wish I had taken that when I had the extraction, but I'm not big on pills. I don't like swallowing pills. And anyway, I'm starting to get used to it. But so I think, today I'm going to wait and see with the pain. There's no swelling, there's no inflammation. I don't feel like I can't eat anything except maybe potato chips or something stabby like that. I don't want to take the chance. But there's a big old metal screw in my mouth where the hole would be. And basically, I just don't want to irritate the gum around it. And I want to watch for infection. But that's where we are with this. I'm still going to do the saltwater rinse for the next few days. I think you're supposed to do it like 4 to 7 days. I'll just do it every day for 7 days and watch the nosebleeds. And then, yeah, that's about it. Mild headache, nosebleeds, mild nosebleeds, and then some soreness. But otherwise, in good shape. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If this helped you at all, like it. And yeah, I just hope this helps somebody who's out there worrying about this, because I was worried about it. But I think that's natural. And we just, we're worried about things we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen next. And so here's a little bit of knowledge for y'all. And yeah, hopefully I'll talk to you and see you on the next one. Have a great one. Thanks.